full-time motocrosser now, or still got a day job?
I still got a day job. I'm working more than I have been the last 6 months right now, I got one more Pro-Am race, and then I'm hoping my pro license will get accepted. And if it does, I'm going to take not take time off really, but kind of just slow down on riding and work more, start putting money aside for next year.
I gotcha. I bet that doesn't, it's not cheap.
No, it's definitely not cheap. For 2022, I've been each Pro-Am I go to, I break down how much I spend, if I make anything back and all that. And everyone says, don't count the money. And unfortunately for sponsors and stuff, I have to, just so I can make a budget. And, yeah, I'm not thrilled with it right now.
It's big money, big numbers.
Yeah, it's big numbers, and I'm doing it on a shoestring budget even.
And it's cool to be able to compete with bigger guys in such a small budget, though.
Yeah, it definitely puts a little bit more fight in me.
For sure. So tell me about how your ride's been going.
Riding's not been bad, really. I just keep working on kind of fixing little things. Trying to get the last Pro-Am I went to, it was probably the roughest track I've ever rode. And we did about 21-minute motos. I think is what it ended up being, about 20 minutes, 21 minutes or so.
Yeah. And
I was smoked, which I'm in the best physical shape I've ever been in. But I've been doing kind of more sprint, like 3-lap, 4-lap sprint races for these local races. And I thought 20 minutes wouldn't be a problem. I'm learning that if you quit doing them, you lose it, even if you're still in good shape.
It's very hard to replicate that on the bike, use of muscles other than just riding it, just doing it.
Yeah. I think a lot of it, because like I'll come off the track not physically like tired, but I think it's more mental straining. Like, I don't know if you know the Lawrence brothers that run the 250 class right now.
Okay.
But they were just on another podcast, and they were talking about like their time in Australia and coming to Europe, then to America. And Jet was supposed to do amateurs for 2 years here, but they did 1 year, and like I guess their dad went to Geico Honda and was like, your amateur system is ruining like Jet's endurance. And he's like, we're going pro, because over in Europe the amateur classes are like 25 minutes, and here they're, A class is like 7 laps, which is 12 to 15 minutes maybe. And Jet said he was literally losing his endurance of doing a 30-minute moto. He's like, I'm in shape, but he goes, if you're not doing it, he goes, you can't just go do a 30-minute moto like it's nothing.
Yeah. And so are you training like in the backyard? You go into all kinds of different tracks in the meantime between rounds?
I've been like, I go on Saturdays and Sundays. I'll go practice if we're not racing. But I was riding Wednesdays at a track that does like a night practice type deal, and they do about 20 minutes for A class. But I've been kind of just working instead on Wednesdays now. Make money at work and not going riding, you save it. So
yeah, I hear that. Do they have corner workers at motocross events?
They have flaggers like throughout the track, yeah, like on some of the bigger jumps, or if it's like a long straightaway, they might have someone standing in between with a flag. Because
I've been corner working this year, and I was just thinking maybe, another way for you to be at the races and possibly make money at certain events is to be a corner worker.
Yeah, I've definitely looked at it with a couple of the series that we run, and I wouldn't mind doing it. It makes it for a busy day or busy night, depending on if it's a night race or whatever.
Right.
But one of the series that I'll go do a race here and there for, they've asked me if I want to run like the starting gate or do help with scoring or anything like that. And it just ends up being a busy night. But my work pays pretty decent. And like I said, I can work almost as many hours as I want. So it's just a matter of sitting at work and doing it,
Sure. Takes a lot to do that though. But as long as you're doing something fun and with your money, that seems like it counts.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely can't get your time back. So I enjoy what I do right now. And as a good bit of my family and friends and everybody else that kind of backs me says, if you might be struggling now, but looking at what I'm chasing, the struggle's worth it. So
Yeah, and as long as you're having fun at the end of the day, you're liking what you're doing, that's what matters.
yeah, that's kind of for a little bit there. I wasn't enjoying going to the gym, but finally I like sat down one day and looked at it, and it's like I'm borderline riding my dirt bike professionally. I get to work out, be in good shape, travel all over the East Coast and everywhere in my van, ride my dirt bike. Like, it doesn't really get much better. Like, yeah, your bank account might say zero in it or, $20 in it, but I get to do a lot more. I know some people that have their bank account looks the same as mine, but they are sitting at home.
It's all about what you spend your time on. A lot of people say they have no time to do something like that because they come home and watch TV for 4 hours. You can't be expecting to do something great if you don't do anything. You're just sitting around consuming content.
Yeah. That's my biggest thing. I think I maybe watch TV like for an hour before I go to bed.
Yeah, just wind down.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a big video gamer?
I'm not really. I've kind of followed it now, but I don't. As far as actually playing them, I don't get too much into them.
So what's one of your hobbies outside of racing, if that's a thing?
So I've been down here in South Carolina this is my 3rd year, and I just now I'm starting to like get out and explore downtown and just hang out with like friends. So like that's different for me, and it kind of takes my mind off racing and makes everything else fun again.
Yeah,
So
spend some time away, hang out with friends and family, and explore a little bit.
yeah, so that's kind of what I've been doing lately, besides work, gym, and riding.
I was just cutting the grass before I came in here like 10 minutes ago, just trying to get it done. I still got to go out and finish a couple lines, but it's mostly done. And then I wanted to come in here, do the EricSwannRacing.com podcast. I think it's number 65 with Joe Kremkow. So this is our second encounter already. So I'm going around again to all the people who I podcast with, seeing if they want to do it and get a follow-up.
Heck yes, I'm excited for it.
And you put your link in the bio, and it was one of the most watched and listened to podcasts. So thanks for that.
Heck yeah, I'm excited here. I got a couple more new people backing me and another couple people that are interested in hopping on board for 2022. So I'm excited to get this out to them, and hopefully my following base has grown since the last time we've done this too. So get you some more views and help us both get noticed a little bit more.
Heck yeah. So tell me about who's new on board with you.
So I'm actually running up to the Baja Brawl next week for I'm hoping that's gonna be my last pro-am. But High Tom's Power Sports jumped on board with us, and he's helped me out get parts, do everything, whatever I needed for the brawl. And then Just One Racing is he helped me out. He hooked me up with helmets, goggles, jersey pants. Couldn't ask for more. And all, like, it's crazy because I asked him, I was like, well, for what you're doing for me, I said, what kind of results are you expecting, or what series do you want me to go race or anything like that? And he's like, if you give me 12 social media posts in a year, he's like, that's all I ask for. I was like, I'm more than thankful with that. So
yeah, you just try to help them out as much as possible, and they try to help you out. It's like a nice mutual partnership.
Yeah, and the gear is unreal. I think they do road racing helmets too, even. And like, I've worn almost every single brand of helmet you can wear, And the Just One helmet that they sent me it's a full carbon fiber, and it's the lightest carbon fiber helmet I've ever worn.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, they have a
So
lot of new models out there, and the carbon fiber is getting in everything. Just reduced weight, and it seems to be pretty strong.
yeah, honestly, I've worn a good bit of like even carbon fiber helmets before, and this one just it tops it.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of great brands out there. It's good that you found one.
Yeah, I'm definitely thankful for them and everybody else that's been backing me so far.
And you've been just sleeping in your van, or do you get hotels? Do you put out a tent, or you got like cots inside when you go to these
So
events?
no, like so for the pro-ams, I've been the family and everything that I stay with here in South Carolina, like they're doing their local series. So um Bailey, he's like my second brother. He hasn't been able to really come to any with me. So I've been going solo, and I'll stay in the van, and like I know people at the track. So I'll find someone to go help me on the line and do whatever. But the last pro-am we went to, I actually ran into a family there. I want to say their last name's Newberry. If I messed it up, I'm sorry, guys. But I literally just met him. I needed to borrow grease, and he's like, "Well, where are you staying tonight?" I said, "The van, no problem. Like, I don't mind it."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, we got a hotel room." He's like, "Come stay with us." And I was like, "Well, I don't." I was like, "I appreciate it." I was like, "I got to stay in the van." He's like, "No, like, don't worry about it. It's already paid for. We'll cover it." So I was like, that helped me out huge. And then actually at Muddy Creek too, I stayed with another family. They took their camper up, and I just asked them if I could shower or whatever. They ended up cooking for me too and
Oh, that's
let me
nice.
stay in their camper. But that was the Petracas. So I've definitely met some really cool families traveling all over.
Yeah, it's nice the camaraderie and people just want to help out, just to help out.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I've been racing since I was 4, and I've been traveling all over since I was 18 racing, but it still blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, especially in as crazy of a world as we're in, like it blows my mind that people it shows really like how simple the world is. You go to a racetrack and you see how genuine people are, and all this other crazy stuff in the world is like, it doesn't bother us.
Yeah. It's very rare to have someone kicked out of an event. Usually that might happen if I guess there's a lot of spectators and someone might be drunk, but that's about it, right? I mean, even that I haven't seen.
Yeah, I don't even think I've really seen that. And like at the motocross track, it seems like everybody kind of just is civil and gets along. Like there might be like 1 or 2 heated arguments, but it never gets blown up where cops are showing up and stuff like that. Or
Yeah. I did hear, working with race control, being a track marshal, I heard one time we were at Mid Ohio. They said we need an ambulance, turn 5, inside of the track. There's a little boy cut his leg on a tree stump or something, going off a jump. I was like, oh, that's a interesting call. But
right, yeah, that's
usually,
definitely not
like, yeah, so
something you'd be thinking of at a road race.
right. It's usually stuff that happens on the track, not off the track.
Yeah, that's unfortunately I've seen a lot of kids though, even at like motocross tracks, they get hurt playing around on their pit bikes after racing, or they'll be doing something that they shouldn't be and they get hurt
Just
off
fooling
the track.
around, not even having gear on. That's usually what happens, right?
Yep.
Um, I've been just riding my bike a lot. Um, got some mountain bike races coming up I need to be training for. I just started doing Orange Theory Fitness. I don't know if you heard of that, if it's in your area.
I don't think I have heard of that.
Orange Theory Fitness, it's like a fitness class with rowing, there's a weight section, and then there's running or biking. So it's like a high intensity interval training. They give you a heart rate monitor, and you're kind of like competing against each other, or you can at least see your stats on the screen. You can see everybody's stats.
Yeah.
And so the idea is if you're in the top 2 heart rate zones, um, that's ideal for that type of workout. So that you're using your maximum. You're going all out on the treadmill and trying to go as far as you can on the rower, and it's pretty cool. So I don't know. It's like if you have a class, it's something you can't miss. But if you schedule a workout, sometimes you're like, maybe I'm not gonna do it today, or something else gets in the way, and you skip it, and I'll do it later. And then, sometimes it's hard to stick to it. So I just figured if I get a class routine, maybe it'll help out.
Yeah, definitely having a class environment helps with it. Like I've been kind of doing my own thing for a good bit, and then I had a sponsor that was going to hop on board and pay for it's a newer training program, but it's called MPT Fitness. And so they were going to hop on board, and we hired a personal trainer and everything. And the 3 weeks I got to work with them were like, I didn't want to go to the gym some days, but it's like, if someone's paying for it, like I need to go. And then unfortunately everything kind of unfolded and they pulled back on it with just seeing, they thought it was like a certain price, and then come to find out it was a different one. Like Tyler, the guy that runs MPT, he told it up front and everything, but the way I guess I explained it to them, or they thought something, it got mixed up, but they didn't realize it was going to be every month. They thought it was like a one-time yearly fee or something like that. And
I gotcha. Sometimes it's out of their budget.
Yeah.
But yeah, personal training can be great. I'd love to have a personal trainer again. I had one for like 2 sessions years ago, and it's nice because they're just directed to you. They're dedicated towards you. There might be a couple of people they're working with, but normally it's a very small group, so you get that one-on-one instead of just a class. Just do these exercises. That's not targeted usually.
Well, Tyler's program is all virtual, so like he'd send me my workout plans, and then I would just send him my heart rate data after, and then he'd kind of like critique riding and everything. So it's all through text and email and everything. But just even having that program alone took so much stress off of me for 3 weeks, because it's like I'll sit there and make myself go crazy on what heart rate zones I need to hit on this day and what I should be doing and shouldn't be doing.
Yeah. Are you doing a lot of cardio, or how are you training for your motos?
So being that we're so far into the year, I've been kind of more, I'll do like about 25 minutes, 30 minutes of cardio a day at the gym, but then I'll do my strength training and stretching and everything. But once I kind of go back into a boot camp style training around November, December, it'll be probably closer to like an hour of cardio and then all the strength training on top of it. But
yeah, it definitely switches up between the seasons, what you're doing if you're getting ready for the season versus in season.
Yeah, and right now it's like almost like Monday, Tuesday, I'm trying to recover, so you don't want to do too much. But then then Thursday though, you don't want to do too much either, because you're going racing on the weekend. So it's finding that balance.
Yeah, not getting yourself worn out, because there's a fitness level you have, and then there's a fatigue level, and then your form goes down because your fatigue is too high.
Yep. Now I've pushed myself past the fitness side of it and just made myself extremely fatigued a couple times. Not so much this year, but I did it more last year.
Yeah, and then you leave yourself susceptible to injury if you get too fatigued and worn out. You keep pushing through it, but it's hard not to use those muscles when you need them to race.
Yeah, it's I've been fortunate where like I guess I know when I'm tired, so I won't ride over my head, but I'll still push myself, and then it ends up being like you get heat fatigue and your muscles are just like, I've had it, they don't even cramp up. It doesn't feel like they cramp up, but they just end up like burning.
Yeah.
And then you just feel like you're on fire, like burning from the inside out for a couple of days, and it's just Pedialyte for 2 days straight with gallons on gallons of water trying to put everything back into you. And
yeah, I would recommend sauna work. Do you do any of that?
I haven't yet.
Because being in such a hot environment, if you can shine when it's 100 degrees, you're going to be a step ahead of everybody else. Because you can withstand that heat. Like I used to do push-ups in the sauna, and people think I was crazy. I'm like, well, you just start at 1 and see what you can do, and then just go from there. Sit down if you get tired.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense. Like So down here, it's all like clay dirt, and there's some sand, but nothing like Michigan sand. And we've been kind of searching, trying to figure out where to go ride for sand to get ready to go up to Baja. And Club MX has a public sand track that's like it just all turns. They never groom it. And I went out there Sunday and I did 3 25-minute motos, a 20-minute moto, and then I like started getting blisters on my hands and everything. Wanted to go home, and I said I'm gonna go do 15, but I'm gonna put a hoodie on just so that you end up, sweating more and have that little bit more of a mental suffer. And you just push yourself mentally to see how hot you really think you can get your body, or how far you can push it. Because like the end of a 25-minute moto, the first one, I was like, it's hot, I'm tired, I'm smoked. But then I did the 15 with a hoodie on, and I'm like, actually I could go longer. I was like, it's not actually as hot as I thought it was.
Yeah, you can go a lot farther than you think you can if you push yourself. And you got to push yourself to find those limits.
And I think that's what I struggle with a little bit, because like when I go practice, because the family and everything I stay with, they the local series they race, a lot of them are Saturday nights, and I go practice Saturday during the day, and then I'll go Sunday during the day somewhere else, or I'll go to the same track twice. But they're at home sleeping and recovering while I'm out riding, so half time I'm there by myself. So to mentally push myself, I kind of struggle with at times.
Yeah.
With that accountability.
And do you run like some sort of lap timer for getting your lap times at all these events? You got a GPS unit on your bike, dashboard or something?
For practicing, I'll wear like my GoPro, and then I'll go back later with the stopwatch and do it. But if I'm fortunate enough where like Bailey goes with me, or his dad, my second family dad, whatever we want to call him. But if Jason goes with us, he's hard on me when he goes, but they'll run the pit board with lap times, so it's easier for me to see in the moment if I'm off pace for the day than later on the way home. And then it's like you find out later on the way home and you're like, well, I wish I knew that 3 hours ago so I could have fixed it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a huge help when someone goes with me.
For sure. I was just wondering because I actually sell products like lap timers that are GPS based, so you don't have to have a person there with a stopwatch or a GoPro that you have to go back for. You can set like point to point courses. It's mostly for road racing. I'm not sure if they'd have motocross courses on there, but I know that you can create your own course. So maybe you could do something like that. And then on your handlebars, you'd be able to see in real time what you're doing. It'll flash your lap timer up,
Yeah, that'd definitely be amazing to look
Yeah, they
into.
even have sensor hookups for potentiometers for suspension or your brake pressure, throttle position, all that stuff.
I've seen the science used before. I've seen it like used obviously with like Ken Roxon and the top guys. It's just something I've never even, I think it'd be cool to have, but I've never had the access or know the right people that could get into it.
Yeah. Well, if you're looking for one, you know where to find me.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look into it.
I'll send you some links, see if it'll be good for motocross applications. I'm not sure about that, but I think it'd be okay. It'd be cool to see all the elevation that you use going up and down.
Even I mean, I feel like it would be, you could end up using it because like you say, I mean, road racing, you still have a start point and an end point, and it's the same thing on a motocross track.
I do know that they have a lot of the road racing ones already loaded. Like I went to Grattan Raceway and I used it. And Grattan was already in the system, so it knew when I was there.
That's definitely awesome. I mean, I wouldn't even mind, I don't know if like say it's not in the system, if it just kind of tracks out where you're at and you got to make your own start and stop point or what, but
yeah,
I definitely wouldn't mind looking into it.
heck yeah. And you know what? I actually tried using that I did a car track day recently at Grattan, and there's some setting must have been off because they told me I was doing like 1/16. I'm like, that's not possible. That's wrong. So it must have been missing a sector or something along the way. But I found just a free app on my phone, and I had one of those super strong magnetic mounts. I just stuck it on the car vent, and that just worked. It worked all right. You didn't have all the data, but at least told me a more accurate lap time. Um, it wasn't missing any sectors for whatever reason. The other one was. So it was pretty cool to to see that in real time, to say, oh, that was a great time, or that one sucked, or that was traffic that lap, Or I was letting
Yeah.
somebody by, they were faster than me. So um, it's pretty cool. I did my first ever car track day. I rented a car from a rental place and just took it to the racetrack. And it was just a track day, so open practice, no racing. But it was a blast. The car wasn't that great. It was just a Malibu, but I raced it to its limit, and I learned a lot. I never done a card day before, so I learned it was point to pass on the straights for beginners. It's point to pass either direction um, for intermediate, anywhere on the track, and then just advance just like normal. Don't hit the guy. So, um, and it was different. One car per point. And if you want them to pass you on the left, you point out the left or the right over your hood. But there's some cars that are right side drive, so you got to watch out for them. It'll be pointing out on the other side. It was very interesting. I went a beginner because my car was so slow and I never did a car day before. And that was about where the car belonged because it wasn't super fast, but I was getting up to like 106 on the straightaway. But it was a lot of fun. I'd do it again. I just wish I had a faster car next time.
Yeah, that'd definitely be something fun to try out for a day too.
And it wasn't that expensive. I mean, I went with Midnight Motorsports. They do car track days at like Mid-Ohio and local regional stuff. I'm not sure all the events they do, but I know Gretton and Mid-Ohio for sure. And it was like $250 a day or $400 for 2 days a weekend. So not terrible. And then bring whatever car you want.
Heck yeah, that'd be awesome.
And there was no requirements for like I didn't safety wire or anything. It was completely stock. The brakes were stock. You need a closed-toed shoes, pants, and a helmet, a Snell helmet. And I brought gloves, water and a backpack, but no tools. I didn't bring anything. Just like run what you brung and don't break the car.
Yeah.
But I actually am looking into renting a go-kart soon for East Lansing Kart Track. It's like I think it's a 125 shifter. I'm not sure. I think you might have a tag kart too. But it's not your local rental place go-karts. It's going to be a little bit quicker than that. So I'm excited to do that for the first time. And I've been wanting to do that for a long time. It's just like, how do you get into that? I can't afford to buy one right now, so I'm going to rent one. Just going down the rental route.
Yeah, no, those shifter carts are definitely, I've seen videos of those and those are fast.
Oh yeah, they go, some of them over 100 miles an hour. Depends on what CC you're running.
Yeah, that blows my mind for sure.
And I think some of the go-karts have the fastest lap times at certain tracks because although they don't have the top speed, the center of gravity is so low. They got 4 contact patches instead of 2 like a motorcycle. The power to weight ratio is just so high.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty fast. I'm looking forward to doing that, doing some more events. I did Supermoto this year. You ever done Supermoto?
I haven't. Bob Sawicki's got his little mini moto, Supermoto bike that I was actually gonna ride the upcoming summer before I moved down here. But he got big into that for a minute, and it looks fun. It looks like it'd be a blast to do. Yeah. The closest thing I got to Supermoto was the long patch of road that they had at a race I went to in Florida, Day in the Dirt, where it's like old school style motocross GP, like back when tracks weren't really prepped and they were simpler, like long lap times. And you actually run down, they close off a section of a public road and you run down probably a quarter mile on the road. And then it had a little left-hander up on it, and then you turn left and you're back into the dirt. But that's the closest I got to Supermoto.
Yeah, I went up to Auto City Speedway up in Clio, Michigan earlier this year with Will Wildner, Great Lakes Supermoto. He's a runner of that organization, and he let me borrow his XR100, Cowie 250, and a Husqvarna 450, all dirt bikes with slick tires and mostly pavement with like 15% or 20% dirt maybe. And so that was my first time ever in Supermoto, in dirt and jumping with slick tires. That was a little nuts for me. But it's just you got to steer with the rear. I was being really tentative with it at first, but I still fell down twice in the dirt, and then once right when I got on the pavement from coming off the dirt. So, but there's no damage on those kind of bikes. You're going pretty slow. It's not like you're going high speed, and it was great learning for me. I did like a couple hundred laps, and just trying to learn. And that was my first time riding in that discipline. So you just gotta take it slow and put in laps, seat time.
Yeah, it's that's like day in the dirt. When we came out onto the road, all the dirt and the sand was getting drug out onto the road, and it was slick coming off of it. And you could tell who kind of, and like being from Michigan in the winters, you kind of know about icy roads, or
Yeah.
so I kind of had an idea a little bit. And then I've rode street bikes up there, so like you get the people that blow their grass onto the road, so you kind of know if there's something between the tire and the pavement that it's going to be slick, and you could tell kind of who could see that and think about it and who couldn't, because there'd be people that'd come out onto the road and they'd slide out sideways for a second, have to let off and save it, or down at the bottom of the road where it turned left, they'd try locking the brakes up, and then they'd be sliding into the corner and almost crashing too. And it's like, if you just downshift and carry your momentum through it, it's a lot smoother, and you don't scare yourself going into the corner doing 75.
Yeah, man. The other day I got caught in a downpour on my road bicycle, and I just put new pedals on, and I wanted to try it out, and it just started sprinkling. I'm like, I'm gonna go out. So I went out, and became just a downpour. So I stopped at the local bar, had a drink or two. They happened to have World Superbike on, so I watched that race, and it was still raining when I came back. So I after a couple of drinks, I'm on pouring downpour rain with my road bicycle, and then I get a flat tire in the rain, and like on my front, and it's like you got to just be, you can't panic, because if you panic, that's when things go wrong. But nothing bad happened. I was like, oh, that kind of sucks, and I just kept riding home, and I didn't have any issues. I didn't have to put my foot down, and I was actually clipped in, and it was like no issues. If you do what the bike wants to do, even if you're on a flat rim, it usually works out.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is staying calm in situations like that.
And I bet it's a little hairy when you're going off 20-foot jumps, and you're like, oh, this is not the right launch, right? You probably feel that a lot. You probably got to correct a lot in the air.
Oh yeah, it's you can't you can't race motocross and have a stiff nature body.
Yeah. Gotta be willing to just move all around and make sure the bike gets where it needs to be.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing I've even put into my program, is I used to never stretch, and that's what I've been putting into it now, is just doing stretching. And it it helps you move around easier on the bike, you're looser on a bike. But B, when you crash, because it's not if, it's when, but when you crash, your body's flexible. Instead of it tearing on something, it might stretch a muscle instead of it tearing it, or even worse.
So your crashes, I don't know a ton about. So do you feel like you crash an average amount, less than most people, more than most people? 'Cause everybody crashes. It's just how much and how bad, right?
Yeah, I'm, knock on wood, I'd say less than average. I'm pretty calculated when it comes to riding. I get in my comfort zone and I slowly step out of it. I don't really ever ride over my head. And it seems like the crashes I do have are in corners, coming into corners or coming out of them, and I'll take those all day long.
Like losing the front?
Yeah, losing the front, or not weighting the outside peg and the rear end comes around on you and you high side. Like, I'll take those crashes over anything.
Yeah.
Because those ones, I mean, you're a little sore, but it's definitely not as bad as it should be. Could be worse.
The biggest worry for me getting into motocross is just they always say, like, if you follow motocross, you stick instead of slide, because you're sticking into the dirt. Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It that's kind of like the other side of it too, is it isn't a flat surface. So like, even if you're flexible and you try to roll with the crash and carry, it's hard to process stuff at that speed sometimes, but I've had crashes where you're going to crash. So when you hit, you kind of try to keep the momentum going of whatever way you hit. And I mean, you might end up crashing into like a braking bump coming into a corner though that stops your momentum, even if you're trying to tuck and roll. So it's always changing.
I feel like motorcycle racers should get into like being a gymnast and like stuntman school.
It definitely would go hand in hand.
Right, learning how to fall, learning how to tumble.
Yeah, it's I had a trainer a couple years ago. He always told me, he goes, "You're not training to ride a bike." He goes, "You're training to crash." And I was like, kind of confused on it for a while. And I mean, if you're not fit and in shape, obviously you can't do 20-minute motos or 30-minute motos. But also, if you're not in shape and you're not flexible and you're not agile and loose, then when you do crash, you're going to be stiff. And if you're stiff, it's always a bad result. So
Yeah, and healthy bodies always recover faster than unhealthy ones.
yeah, they do.
So, heck yeah, man. Um, so you've been creating videos online? Are you a video creator? I forget.
Yeah, I've been posting my like GoPros up on YouTube here and there. I've been slacking on it for a while now, but it's hard because at our races we can't wear them because
Oh
AMA
yeah,
has banned helmets on, or helmet modifications, anything sticking on a helmet,
yeah.
however it's worded. And then half the time practicing, if someone's with me, I don't wear my GoPro because I got someone there for lap times. And then if someone's not there, half the time of that, I'll forget to charge it, or I just won't feel like wearing it. Kind of going through the motions type of day, or you just want to work on what you need to work on. And I've been trying to do the YouTube thing slowly, get into it and see where it goes.
I feel like it's something you could get viral at because of all the race videos and people like to watch, your laps and try to learn from you if you're a fast guy. That can be a big thing.
There's definitely a lot more riders at the professional level doing it now that, I don't know how I want to put it really, but if they didn't do it, they wouldn't have the support that they do. But being that social media is such a big impact on it, and then the one guy I've been following for a while now, Jeff Walker, it seems like the last 2 years he's blown up on YouTube. But now that he's got the support from YouTube and everything, his results are coming around and he's putting more effort into racing. And it's almost like they get more recognition, so they get more support, and everything kind of just goes hand in hand. And so it's definitely a helpful tool to have if you know how to market it right.
For sure. And I mean, this just cost me an hour of my time plus some editing. I'm just using my laptop camera with no external microphone right now, so it's basically free. Just some time. So, it was cool. I went to Pittsburgh the other day, Pittsburgh International Race Complex for the Moto America round, corner working. I did the weekend. But I was eating lunch one day, and some guy just came up to me. He's like, "Hey, you're that." He's like, "Did you work over there?" He's like trying to picture or where to place me. He's like, "I know you from somewhere." Oh, you're that podcast guy. I'm like, "Yeah, I am. Thanks for noticing." Like, I had no idea who the guy was. Super nice. It's cool. I mean, those are my people. I hope those people recognize me because that's kind of who I'm trying to market to. The racers, the people who are going to the race, riders, um, anybody who likes motorsports or even pedal sports and, cycling, um, bike racing, all of it, cars.
Yeah, it's crazy seeing how much you've grown, but it's also crazy too. Like I went to lunch yesterday and I had someone message me on Instagram and they're like, I think I just passed you on Westinghouse. And I was like, red van and everything. He's like, yeah, your number's on the back of it. And I was like, yeah. He's like, I work up in Charlotte too. And I've never talked to the guy a day in my life. I know of him.
Yeah.
I've seen him at tracks, but just crazy how, I don't want to say well known kind of, but like how known you are without knowing that you're known.
Right. I just trying to produce content. I want to produce so much that people can't watch it all.
That would definitely keep people entertained.
Because right now,
Because that's kind of the thing is,
yeah, go ahead.
When I was uploading a lot of YouTube videos, it seemed like I was getting more views and more following, and then I kind of spaced out on it now, and my views have went away. So I think it's, if you got more for them to watch, that's right there, they're not caught up, then it keeps them going. It keeps more people coming. But when you slow down, everything else kind of slows down with it too, I think.
It does. You lose. You're not as good as, or what is it? You're only as good as your last race or your last post or video,
Yeah.
whatever it is. But like I think episode 58 is the last one I have out, but this is number 65. So I have a whole bunch of them that I'm just sitting on because I don't have any time. I've been going the last 4 weekends in a row, and I have a bunch of them still coming up. So I'm just hoping I can find some free time and get them done, or finally pay someone to do it for me.
Either one would be awesome.
So I'm really hoping to hire another guy by the end of the year, maybe the start of the year. And that might take some podcasting off my belt, maybe some daily operations for my business so that I don't have to ship orders myself, and maybe some accounting because I don't like to do it.
Yeah, it's always a headache.
But man, it's definitely growing. I've been selling a lot of exhaust still. That's like the number one thing. That and Motool suspension setup tools. They're used for any chain machine, and also driven racing. They sell hard parts for sport bikes and chain sprockets and all kinds of stuff. Gas caps. So just trying to keep growing.
That's awesome.
So yeah, man, we got about 15 minutes left or so. Anything on your mind?
Not really a whole lot. Just like I said, trying to kind of put together plans for 2022. Like I said, having to write everything out this year to make a budget. I definitely sold myself short this year, but it's a headache seeing how much you really do spend into it. But I'm actually looking into trying to go up to Canada next year and race a couple pro outdoor rounds up there. Just to travel and do it and see Canada, say I raced in Canada, say I did a professional race up in Canada.
Yeah.
Honestly, trying to do anything I can to market myself, really.
You'd be an international motocrosser.
Yeah, and I got the paperwork this year and the information on going up there because I thought about doing it this year, kind of a last minute spur of the moment if I could put a program together, and it just never came together. But it'd definitely be cool to do. I know a lot of people a couple of years ago used to do it, and then COVID kind of made it where it's a little bit harder, but it's still definitely doable.
Yeah. What about Mexico? Is that too far?
It's not too far. I've just never looked into it. I mean, it's definitely farther than Canada. Like Canada, I can drive up there and do all my quarantine, staying in the van, and do it that way. Mexico, I'd definitely either have to, it'd be a long drive, or I'd have to line it up where I could fly to it. But I want to say there was someone over here, he's racing the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Series now, but he won like the Mexican Pro Series 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. But he said he made decent money at it. I mean, so it's definitely, you can travel around and find the money, but definitely get the exposure too. It's just kind of, you got to know the right people,
Yeah.
or put together your own plan with the right amount of support and backing and everything, which it's definitely hard to do, because I mean, you probably know from racing street bikes, there might be more of a return on the GP side of it, but like for motocross, it's hard to go to like a local business owner and be like, hey, I'll advertise for you, but that's really all you're getting in return. So it's just, there's not much return on the business side of it other than the advertisement and a tax write-off for them. So it's hard
Unless
for
unless
some
you
people to do it.
Yeah, that advertisement can be directly correlated to dollars. Like if you can prove that because you sponsored me, 100 people went to your website today, and out of those 100, maybe 10% bought something. If you can prove that data, that's valuable. And you could do that with like codes, discount codes, or like referral codes sometimes. Um, and it's hard to get those people to scan them, but um, maybe that's kind of why I'm trying to grow a bigger following, so that if you get more people, more eyeballs, you'd think you'd get more money, right?
Yeah, and that's like some of the industry sponsors that I have, that's kind of the deal we worked out. I'll get like a code that I can give out, and they can see who I bring in, or like my graphic company, they hook me up with graphics, and anybody that I know that asks for graphics, I send them, the phone number, and I say, tell them I sent you, do whatever you can.
Yeah.
And even if they don't end up buying the graphics from them, at least kind of it shows like I'm trying to send people your way.
Yeah.
But I mean, like as far as small local businesses, like small restaurants or electrical company or construction company, it's hard for them to justify sponsoring it, because like say you're a electrical company down here in South Carolina, but I'm up in Pennsylvania racing, it's the sponsor money definitely helps, but you're not going to get a new customer from Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people travel from all over. A chiropractor once sponsored me, and I was out in West Side Michigan. This was chiropractors in like Sterling Heights area, hours away, and somebody happened to was like, oh, I know that person, I know that business, and I go there. So it's a small world. I think there still is value to it, and nowadays everything being on the internet, you know, um, maybe you would call that company. Maybe they're not going to make the drive hundreds of miles away, but maybe your aunt has a house right next to that business, and you might might use it for something else. So you never know.
Oh yeah, that's been my big selling point with trying to get new sponsors on board is, I've kind of seen it. The social media following is huge now, so that's kind of almost my last ditch effort of trying to throw it out there, because I'll social media post, do whatever I can, or sign jerseys, number plates at the end of the year, whatever I can do to help them out,
Yeah,
on top of sending people their way.
right. And something I thought of is, man, if I could sell these parts for businesses, maybe they'll sponsor me too. Because not only can I help them make money, at the least I'll be able to get it at cost. But maybe if I'm selling them, 10 grand a month, maybe they'll throw me a couple thousand to sponsor me at the end of the day. So who knows?
Yeah.
But that's kind of my plan, is like if I can actually sell these products for the companies, I'm more of an asset than just a racer. I can actually make them money, and prove it because I can sell it rather than just advertising for them and they sell it. So it's a long journey. I'm not there quite yet, but I'm trying.
Yep, that's exactly where I'm at right now. Is just trying to find a way. I know there's a will, so there's definitely a way somewhere.
Yeah. And about how many races are you doing a season now? You're doing like weekends, and how many races per weekend sometimes?
Yeah, so the local series, I got a couple local sponsors that helped me out this year. So I'm doing a local series for them, and that's I think it ends up being like 18 races, but you got to do 12 to be eligible for the series at the end of the year for the banquet and all that. So I'm going to be right at 12 with all my traveling. We just finished up another series, and I think that was 12 races too. So that's 24. And then I'm at, I'd say it's probably about 30 to 40 races a year.
Okay, it's quite a bit. You get a lot of seat time that way, and get a lot of race time under your belt.
Yeah, but it's like I said, it's hard because for local sponsors, they like seeing you do the local series, and but those are like the little 5-lap races. So then it's like trying to go the following day, go do my longer motos to keep my endurance up. So it's I enjoy local racing. It's fun, especially with the people, the series and everything that we do, the people that run it, people that are around it. But it's definitely it's fun and everything. It's almost counterproductive of the pro-ams and the pro nationals that I want to do next year as far as endurance wise. But
Yeah.
I still definitely got to work on getting my speed up too. So doing 5-lap sprints at a local race helps with speed.
Yeah, I would assume you probably do faster lap times in that one rather than the other one, the longer.
I tried doing the same lap times. It's just trying to hold that lap time for 20 minutes or 30 minutes is I get pretty hard on myself because I can't let go of my ego almost and say it's 30 minutes, you go a second slower to see if you can't hold that for 30 minutes. I still try.
Yeah.
Like whenever Bailey goes with me, I'll try beat my lap time as long as I can and just see if I can make it 15 minutes with beating it or holding it, and or see if I can't go 20 minutes or however long I can go before my lap time starts dropping.
And how much does a full fuel tank affect you when you start the moto versus at the end?
So on a 450, you can go 45 minutes before you run out of gas. About 50, because that day in the dirt race, I signed up for a class. It was called Coupe de Gras, and it was actually like a survival race, and ended up being almost 2 hours. So they had like planned out pit stops and everything, but I was on a 125 for that. So we were stopping every 30 minutes to fill up just to be safe. But a couple people I knew on 450s, they said that they were doing about 45 minutes to 50 minutes before they'd fill up.
Okay.
So we're definitely not worried about fuel doing a 30-minute moto. But now like as far as the weight and stuff too on top of it, I don't notice it that much of a difference.
It's just pretty much the same fuel. It's not
Yeah.
it's not that big of a tank, right? You're only doing a couple of gallons in there at the most.
Yeah, it's only like a 2.5-gallon tank, I think, or 2-gallon tank.
Okay. Because on some of the bigger bikes, you feel it sloshing around in there if you got a full tank. It's I don't know, it could be 4.5 gallons up to, I think, 3-4 gallons.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely sure on a street bike
Yeah.
leaning over into a corner, if you're at like half a tank or something and it goes from one side to the other, it might give you like
Just kind of sloshy feel.
yeah, it breaks away and then it catches type feeling.
Yeah.
You notice it hit, but it doesn't physically do anything other than that little half second that you feel it move around.
Right. And some people, they put like baffles in there or like big sponges so it goes moves slower. I've never used any of that, but might help. I don't know. I don't know if it's really necessary. Um, so are you messing with like your stabilizer a lot, like the settings, or you like it pretty? Like on a street bike, you can have it really stiff or really loose for your handlebars. As far as how quickly they go from lock to lock.
Yeah.
If you get a big tank slapper on a street bike, it could be bad real quick. So everybody has to have a stabilizer. But most people like it fairly light. You don't want it to be like you got to crank it over in the corners. But a little bit of damping is really helpful. Do you do that on your bike?
So we don't actually run steering stabilizers. They make them,
Yeah.
but we have a on our steering stem nut itself, you can actually turn it in and tighten it that way. But I'm kind of the same way. I don't like it super, super easy, but if it's sitting on the stand, I like to, if I barely touch the left side, I like it to kind of slowly turn. And then when gravity breaks free, it goes the rest of the way to the lock.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know people that ride it where you put it on the stand and you wiggle the seat and the bars go lock to lock. And I know people that have it where you can't even turn them. And I was like, I just like kind of middle of the road,
Yeah.
basic and
Yeah.
easy how it comes from the factory.
I feel like you should want to feel the bike moving, but not too. I mean, you want it to move a little bit. You want it to do what it wants to do, but not too much, not out of control.
For
Um,
sure. Yeah. We call it that, like the front end being twitchy if it's moving around too much, or so you'll be in a corner and if it's twitchy, you'll end up knifing it more because, a quarter of an inch is going to tuck the front end.
doesn't take much.
No. So I just middle of the road and keep it basic and simple.
So, about what lean angle do you think you can achieve on that bike? Is it well? It depends if you have berms or not, right?
Yeah. I say it definitely depends on, how rough the track is, how a corner's set up, everything like that. And, I've had like some of the tracks where it's deeper ruts, we'll drag our foot pegs in the corner, or if a rut develops pretty good and it's deep enough, like we can drag our handlebars in it,
Yeah.
and that's a fun feeling. It's hard to do. I shouldn't really say it's hard to do. It's just committing to it. But I mean, you're definitely laid over if you're doing it.
Are you a big scrubber, trying to get over the hills as low as possible?
Um, I don't do like the fancy sideways and flat scrubs and everything. I almost try to, if I can, I'll soak it up with my body more.
Yeah.
And as the bike's coming up to me, I push it down with my body instead of trying to be all fancy sideways. And I definitely still scrub like that, but it's one of those, like I was just talking to Bob. I sent him a picture from when I first came down here and then one this year. And I was like, when I first came down here, I was like, it took effort to do that. And I sent him the other one. I said, it didn't even feel like I did anything besides let the bike come up into my hips a little bit and then push it back down off the face. And it was like completely sideways compared to almost sideways.
Yeah. It's just you get comfortable with it and you keep pushing it, and it just becomes a new normal.
Yeah, exactly.
So how long did it take you to learn to do a whip? And I'm sure people can get it real wrong doing that.
Um,
Like getting the rear tire off to the side, in the middle of the
yeah,
jump, and getting it back.
I could do whips back in like 2013, kind of. Like looking back now, they're definitely not whips, but at the time I thought they were. Even at the time, I don't think they were that big, but I thought, I knew what I was doing. But compared to now, I definitely still can't whip as big as some people, but from where I started, I can definitely get it flat and sideways. And my favorite's doing at one of the practice tracks we got. They got a fun jump to throw whips off of, but throwing a whip and then looking over and seeing the rear fender and the rear tire sticking up in the air, that's a cool feeling right there.
So what's some tips for whips?
Honestly, I'm horrible about explaining it, but I think a lot of it's in your legs and your hips.
Okay.
And just leaning with it off the face.
All right. I'll be sure to remember that.
It's well, like you were saying, it's almost a feel. You get more and more comfortable with it because I've watched videos and like I've even tried to process it in my brain of like when I do one, what like my leg feels like, or if my outside leg's catching or the inside leg's pushing or anything like that. And it's almost like you have to shut your brain off and go with the feel.
Yeah.
And those end up being the bigger whips I throw.
Is there an easier side for you, a side that you like better, right or left?
Yeah, so if I like want to do like a normal whip, like seat bounce whip and everything, go up high and don't really care about trying to stay low. going to the left, I can do it, and I can still scrub to the left, but scrubbing to the left, it's more of my body doing the work instead of the bike. But if I go to the right, I can scrub and stay low, but I can't do a normal whip to the right, which is weird.
Huh. Do you
So
think it's like the force of the tires or the engine somehow playing against you, or just personal feel?
it's personal feel, which is, you almost think it'd be backwards. Like scrubbing to the left would be easier because you're pulling the throttle into you. But
Yeah.
I'm almost wondering, because like when I scrub, I end up leaving the bike wide open in the air and over revving in the air. So I think that's why it's easier to go to the right, because I'm pulling the throttle away from my hand.
Okay.
So it helps it already start over revving, and I just let the motor inertia bring it back most of the time.
You know, I snowboarded for many years, and I tried to learn how to ride switch completely the whole time, and I didn't really realize I didn't know how to ride or teach myself how to ride until I learned how to do it switch, do it the other way, just as good. It's like relearning it a whole new direction is actually kind of tough.
Yeah, because you gotta reteach your body everything you know about it. And so
Yeah,
you really have to focus on it and concentrate on it.
for sure. I found that I wasn't turning my shoulders enough. I thought I was far enough over, but going switch, I noticed they were way further turned. Once I started turning my shoulders, it started clicking. I was like, oh, this is normal. I recognize this. So, yeah, man. Do you want to give any last sponsor shout outs? We just hit our hour mark, so I'm trying to wrap it up.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely got to thank you for helping me out throughout the year, throwing up my social media post, everything, and the gear bag earlier this year. I've been using that.
Yeah, the OGO.
Yep, that thing's been awesome.
Awesome, man. You're welcome.
And then, Bob still, he helps me out even though I'm down here. And Curry Electric's been helping me this year. I ended up blowing up 2 bikes back in the spring, and Robert at Curry, he's got 2 Kawasaki's as well, and he let me race one for a while, keep me riding and keep me going. And then Jason Youngs and Bailey Youngs, obviously, they took me in. They're like a whole second family. My dad and mom still, they help me out to this day, and can't thank them guys enough either. Just One Racing, they've been, like I said, killing it with gear and helmets, blood lubricants for the oil, and High Times Motorsports for stepping up, helping out for the Baja Brawl. That's huge. And then Liquid Skins Designs for the graphics, keeping my bike looking fresh as it can be for the year. Troy Crisp at BDR Suspension. That dude, it doesn't matter where I'm at, where he's at. I text him and tell him it's the bike's doing something, and he says try this or try that, or I mean, he just goes above and beyond trying to get my suspension right. He will revalve it and do whatever we got to do to get it handling right. Moto VIP in Georgia, that's where I've been kind of going and training whenever I got the money to do it. Bobby and that whole family, they're great. And then Justin Lucky, he hooked me up with a seat actually about a month ago. He bought a bike that he was just going to flip, a Yamaha, and he knew that my seat was kind of beat up a little bit. And then this one had a tall seat on it. So he hit me up and was like, yeah, like, come get this seat. He's like, I'm going to end up selling it. So that helped me out huge, because I didn't have any clue of how I was going to end up buying one of those seats.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said, the Petracas for taking me in at the one Pro-Am. That family's been great. The Newberries as well for taking me in up at Devil's Ridge at the last Pro-Am, giving me a hotel room and food and everything. That's been huge help and grateful for. And EKS Goggles for keeping me going with tear-offs, lenses, whatever I need for the year. Rhino Power has been my nutritional supplement that I've been using, so that's been a huge help as well. And Stubbs 11, before I forget them, that's the biggest one too. I feel bad for almost forgetting them, but yeah, Stubbs 11's she's been taking care of me all year with doing monthly sponsorships on Facebook or whatever it is that I need. So, I mean, sometimes it might only be like $50 I win a month or something, and that $50 ends up buying brake pads that I didn't know how I was going to end up paying for. So that's been helpful beyond many things on that one.
Yeah, and if you don't have one already, you should get a Venmo and a PayPal Me and a Cash App, so that if people want to help you out with $10, $20 here and there, or a little bit of cash, a donation, they can have a place to do that.
Yeah, I already have all of those set up. It's I buy, sell gear all the time, and that's how I end up paying through it, was with Cash App and Venmo. I use PayPal a lot. I don't know if we want to throw it up on here or not, or however we want to do it, but yeah, like you said, anything.
Head over to Joe's page, and I'm sure he'll help you out finding that link, right? You got links out there.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, you share it all the time. My Instagram's still jkrem388. Facebook's Joseph Kremkow. Definitely, if anybody listening wants to help out for 2022, I'll even if you guys say you don't want to have your name on the bike or anything, at the least, like, I'll put your name on the rear fender or something. Like, anything goes a far way for me, and I'm forever thankful for anybody that's ever helped me out.
Yeah. Well, very good, man. I'm going to take the next couple of weeks to get this posted, hopefully sooner. But make sure we tag everybody we talked about when it gets posted.
Definitely. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good night, and I'm going to go finish the lawn.
Sounds good.
All right, bye.